In this video, I'm demonstrating how I prepare my palette for a portrait that I'm working on. The reason why I'm doing this video is because I'm doing something different. I'm pre-making the base set of colors, the pots of colors that I'm using before actually starting the painting, mixing the colors, comparing to my reference, and basing what other pots of colors I may need on what colors I've made. It's very hard to explain why this makes so much of a difference compared to what I usually do. Usually I will take my paint in the brush and mix on the palette with my brush, and I will do that, but I feel that the way that I've been doing it in the past year has made me a lazier artist. I've not planned out or thought about where the two extremes of my light will be. Instead, I'm just going for, at the moment, what are, the lights and colors available to me. I think with a little bit of planning, that will improve the way that I handle these portraits. Usually in my palette, I have Mars Black. If you know Mars Black, it's a very highly tinted, highly opaque black. It's probably the strongest black that you can get. And I think that has made me a lazier artist, that I've relied too much on going so dark you can't see anything. Because of that, I've decided to change my palette and incorporated Van Dyke Brown and Ultramarine Blue as my darkest value. So the dark that you see now is not completely opaque and the darkest dark that you can think of in oil painting. Instead, I'm using a moderately dark. It's fairly dark, but it's also semi-transparent, because the two colors on their own make a semi-transparent color, and that's important because it makes a more natural black. Your darks in nature are never completely black unless you're looking into the blackest abyss. But in this case, looking at a face, you'll never see the blackest abyss. There'll always be some light there, and I think I failed at capturing that. So I've decided to change up my palette. I'm planning out what my darkest darks, my mid-tones, and my key chroma elements are going to be. In addition to those colors, I've added ultramarine blue, a lemon, a cadmium lemon, a cad yellow medium, cad red medium, or I believe cad red deep, and a quinacridone magenta, in addition to some terra rosa and a cerulean blue dot, just for some extra lightness with the blue. If you know your color wheels, these colors go on the two extremes between cool and warm in one way or the other. Ultramarine blue is a warm blue, while a cerulean blue is a cool blue, as it leans more towards green than it does red. Same thing with my yellows. You can even see it in the video itself that there's a more orangey yellow compared to a lemon yellow, which is a very bright bluish yellow. Usually I will use yellow ochre, but I found a tube of yellow medium. I wanted to try it out, so that's why it's here today. There's no other real reason. But you can see I'm making a web. Some people make a long string web, and I think with my knowledge and abilities as a painter that a web will not work for me, because I think I will rely too much on the web and make something that's more monochromatic. Because the way that I paint, I wouldn't think too much about the chromas between your value web. I would stick with the more muddy center area of that web, which is fine in traditional painting. But in my paintings, I want to add a little bit of spice, a little bit of color that you see in the way that light reflects on skin. And I think to do that, for me, I need to have something a little bit more of a color matrix. So that's why the colors that you see here are arranged in the way that they are. You have your darkest dark in the top left, and your more bright, cool brights in the dark, cool brights in the bottom right. So there's a lot of play between the darks, the lights, warms and cools that I use as the base, and which route I will use my brush to make variations upon these colors as I do the painting.